Hi, I'm Cal and welcome back to Bloom and Knits. Thank you so much for being here and joining me while I document and talk about my knitting, my finished projects, my current whips, and hopes to cast on soon. This is my little knitting diary podcast where I gush about yarn and lament about how long projects take me to finish. Today I'm going to be so crazy. Not really, because this is a knitting podcast, let's be real. I'm going to start with acquisitions and then get to stuff I've recently finished. Yes, it's just bonkers going backwards. I also have a little drinky drink with me today. This is my newest obsession. It's called Bone Broth Hot Chocolate, and it's so good. If you haven't tried it before, not affiliated or anything, just recommend. Anywho, back to knits. I am wearing my Ornga Julep tee by We Are Knitters. This was a kit that I got from my mother-in-law as a Christmas gift. And I believe that I finished this in January, maybe February of this year. Either February or January, I believe I finished this. And it is knit in the cotton, which is, the cotton is a 100% cotton yarn. And the color is khaki, I believe. When I went to look on their website, it seems like they have different colors now than they did when this kit was available, so I'm not sure how often they change their colors, but if you wanted this particular color, I don't believe they still have it, but they have a lot of other colors. I love this top. This is one of my favorite finished garments, especially for here in Florida, which I never ever get to say because it's actually a cotton summer piece. It is short sleeved, it's looser gauge, it's so drapey. This V-neck I think is a really cool feature. And then obviously here in Florida, it is so much easier to wear in comparison to mohair and wool and alpaca. So this was really easy to knit. It was essentially two rectangles that you seam up the shoulders and then the sides, as you can see here. Seamed up the sides, seamed up the shoulders. That's all the shaping there was to it. So then after you do the two rectangles and the seaming, you just kind of pick up for like a little couple rows of sleeve and that's about it. Very easy. The only modifications I made to this was I did an I-cord bind off for both the neck and the back and for the sleeves, which was not in the pattern. I chose to do that because I didn't like the look of I think it's just a 1x1 or 1x2 rib here on the bottom was suggested for the other finishings as well, but I obviously did the I-cord edge instead. Since this project, which was where I learned how to do the I-cord edge, I have literally just thrown it on everything. I love the way that it looks. I feel like it lends well to summery, Florida-esque silhouettes. The other modification I made to this was I did add some length, which because I'm chesty, everything falls shorter. So I did add a few inches on both the front and the back so that they matched anyway. My complaint with that is that since there's no shaping and it's just two rectangles, it falls. A, I can't tell which side is the front and which side is the back because they're identical. B, when I stand and am wearing it, I feel like I'm constantly having to like readjust it because there's no like short row shaping in the back, which is annoying, but not worth not liking the top for. I would definitely knit this again. It's a super, if I had like a lot of scrap yarn or a lot of one type of scrap yarn, maybe like a stripey version would be cute. After doing my Olga, I'm like really into stripes right now. Or I have a couple skeins of like, I think it's called Knit Picks Lindy chain, and I think the colors would blend well together. They're like pinks and creams, and I think that would be a cute stripey situation and maybe change the lace a little bit, so it's just a little bit different on the top. We will see where the yarn takes us. So that's what I've got on, and I will hop right to my plans and acquisitions. Starting right up, I have my Sorella Yarn Club for the month of March. So it's May, so we're getting late here. So these are the Sorella Yarn Eras Club colors for the month of March. These are the colorways Wish List, in Surrey lace, which is 74% Surrey alpaca and 26% silk. This is a 50 gram, 300 meter skein, and it's a lace weight. And it's like this very it is a very neon pink, this wish list color. I'm interested to see how this will go with the other colors that I have gotten from the rest of the Eric's clubs for January and February. My brain is churning on what I'm going to make with these. So we will see. Because the unfortunate thing is that they announced after they did like a big like roundup of all their Eras Club, another pre-order basically. They announced they're not doing it anymore. So I'm bummed about that because I was looking forward to like documenting the whole year's worth, but that's okay. Maybe it was a sign to stop spending money on yarn. Okay, so wish list. And then my second acquisition was this color, which is called The Fate of Ophelia. It has like aqua blue, pinks and purples, almost like an orangey pink in some spots, which kind of goes with the Life of a Showgirl album. The month of March. Yes, very soft, very soft. No actual plan with these, we'll see. The other nitty acquisition I got in that same order were these interchangeable cords for my knitting needles, which apparently I can never have enough of because I can never find what I need. Probably my own fault for having so many whips at a time. But yes, that was another exciting little acquisition for knitting. I'm bummed about it. Our bank account is not. I will spend money, I suppose, on yarn that I actually know what I'm getting before I order it instead. My next acquisition was partially sponsored for a test knit I'm doing for Aggie Knits on Instagram. Her real name is Devin King, and it is this beautiful brushed silk yarn in this beautiful sunny yellow called Midday Sun by Plain Material, which is from Great Britain. Plain Material Monday is the name of the yarn, and it is so soft and divine. It's meant to be interchangeable for like mohair or a Surrey lace. 100% silk, and the fibers are just like brushed up so that it has that halo effect that like mohair would have. And it said it was dyed and spun in Italy, 100% silk, lace weight. They come in 25 gram, 210 meter balls. I can't even describe, love it so much. I've been working it up so fast since I started, or since I cast it on. It's just been flying off the needles. Which I feel like I say a lot. Everything's flying off the needles. Since it's silk, I'm very interested to see how breathable it is for here in Florida. I know that the brushed halo effect will create its own like fuzzy warmthness with it, but it being silk, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit cooler than, say. I picked this beautiful sunny color, springy yellow, called Midday Sun. Yeah, and as soon as I opened this box, I was dying to cast on because I never felt such a nice yarn. Which brings me to why I did this podcast backwards. So Devin King, Aggie Knits, is a knitwear designer who is focusing all of her creations on the nursing and maternity-minded mother. And I love that, being in that stage of life as well, because there's so many things that you can't use when you're trying to nurse. So it's amazing that there are like actual patterns out there that have that in mind when they're being created. So I just love that the nursing mama is being kept front and foremost. So yes, this is why I did it. This is why I'm doing the podcast backwards, is because I had this acquisition and I already cast it on and have it done as, not done, but I have it pretty much halfway done as a whip. And I will now dive into my whips. So now for whips. This is my first whip. This is the back panel of my Evangeline top by Aggie Knits. It is a nursing mama-minded blouse for nursing. So this is the start of the Evangeline blouse that will look like this. I have loved working on this, and I want to say I did just this back portion in maybe a week. So I've been addicted to knitting with this yarn. And I'm so excited to add her to my nursing friendly wardrobe. And I am just about to do my very first tubular Italian bind off. So I paused, and I'm gonna do that. And then I will be officially done with this back panel before I pick up for the front. Love, love, love it. So it will feature these two delicate little lace portions for the shoulder, and then also two little, I think they're optional, lace panels for the side. Lace side hems. So the Evangeline blouse is knit flat, top to bottom, back then front, which I suppose you don't have to do it that way, but that's what the pattern is. So you knit the back, then the fronts, then you seam up the sides with the optional lace hem. So yes, she's just about halfway through, and I can't wait for her to be finished. I'll show you closer up. Don't look too closely at my mistakes. The only modification I've made so far, which I had asked about since it's a test knit, is I'm doing a twisted rib for the ribbing, and the pattern just calls for plain rib, but I thought it would be pretty with like the lace and stuff. So yes, I changed that a little bit. All right, I gotta go get my next whip. I brought it upstairs. My second whip to show is my Olga, which is my main treadmill walking whip. Just because right now I'm in the body working stockinette, and it's just round and round and round, and it's easy to do while I'm walking. But yes, here she is so far. I think I am about just past my belly button, inch, maybe more than that, maybe 2 inches past my belly button. Yeah, pretty easy, petite knit. Stripes are addictive, I will say. This is knit in Cascade Yarns Anchor Bay, which I believe is a merino cotton. I can confirm and put on the screen. In the colors, what I call Evergreen, which is this one, Green Apple, which is this one, and Honeydew, which is this one. But that's not their real names. They're numbers on the skein label. But I'm calling it what I want to call it. So yeah, the stripes are really fun and addicting to knit. Potato chips. Potato chip knitting. I feel like every time I hold up my whips, I just want to like gaze at them. And I go back, and when I'm editing the videos, I'm just like petting the knits the whole time. Petting and turning them and looking them. And yes, that is what knitting is. It's partially knitting, part yarn collecting and spending too much on yarn, and also petting the project that you're currently working on. So yes, since doing this, I now wanted to knit everything in stripes, so I'm gonna be in my stripe era real soon. So this sweater is for the Hannah Olivia Way Olga Party Knit Along, which I think most people in the group chat, there's like 800 people, have finished already, but Hannah herself has barely even worked on hers, so I don't feel bad that I am not done yet. There's no rush. There's no rush. She's growing slowly in all her stripy glory. So then when I am done with the body length to the desire in which I want it to be, I will pick up for the collar and the sleeves, which brings me to my Florida dilemma. I hate that living here, I'm turning everything into a tank top, but I'm thinking I would rather be able to wear the knit than to just like have a sweater finished and sitting in the closet. Like if I'm spending money on yarn, I want to be able to wear the projects. So the dilemma is, do I knit this with full sleeves? Or do I try and do maybe like a short sleeve version or a 3/4 length version? so that I'll get more wear out of it being not a gajillion degrees here in the hot, humid weather. I definitely don't want it to just be a tank top, but I don't know. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, but I wanted this as like a cotton pullover, so that requires sleeves. Well, if someone has an opinion, if you know of a sleeve that's shorter and different from the original pattern, and that might have a good shape for the rest of this project, I'm open to your suggestions. So this is where she's currently at. I need to get some of those, I can't remember what they're called, some sort of bubbly silicone cord that people use so that they can try on their knits as they're working on it, because I like to use a cord that's too small when I'm knitting, so that it's not like all over the place, especially when I'm walking with it on the treadmill. And so that means the circumference is not the correct circumference that I would be wearing, and I can't physically put this on. So barber cords, that's what I think they're called, barber cords. I picked some of those up. All right, Olga. The next whip that I have here is my legume tote by, her name is Natalie. Her name is Natalie something, but her Instagram handle is called Knit-Ali, which I'll put on the screen. And this is essentially the LL Bean boat tote dupe, felted. So this is unfelted. It's not done, obviously. It's a whip. My legume tote, which will be a felted tote bag that is intended to be the dupe of the LL Bean boat tote. And this is what I've been working on while watching TV with my husband. And it's pretty easy, straight stockinette so far. Well, it's not straight stockinette. There's a little bit of shaping on the edges. So it has been such a breeze. This has been the project that I've been working on while we're currently watching Fallout. And he turns the lights out on me. So I have to pick something that's easy to knit. So yeah, this is basically just stockinette with some slip stitches for the edges and a little bit of shaping every cut. I think it's like 10 rows or something like that. But yeah, this is knit in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Bulky in the colors Caramel Heather and Clarity. Yes, in the last episode, all I had was this bottom brown triangle, and now I have the majority of the bag done. So the next that I have to do is pick up for the handles that go up. I mean, if you're familiar with the boat tote, it kind of goes like this and up and around, and then there's usually a pocket in the middle. So those are the two steps that I have left. I think if I have extra yarn, I'll put more pockets in, because it's always nice to have little tucky spots for your knitting things. So yes, this is my legume tote, current progress. Legume coat, and then once I have those parts finished, it's on to felting, and then she's done. I'm so excited to see what the felting process does. I've never purposefully felted anything, and I'm both nervous and excited. All right, legume tote. My next whip was a spontaneous cast on. It is a second Give Me the TT by Jenny Ansa from the 52 weeks of Easy Knits. So I've knit this pattern for my mother for Mother's Day, which I talk all about in previous episodes, in an alpaca blend, and held it with a mohair. And I'm knitting it again now, but I'm holding it with 2 strands of mohair blend that I had left over from that project and another project. And yeah, I'm just smorgasbording my own color work onto it. Because as you can see, the pattern is meant to be plain. And I can't follow directions, so I need to make life harder for myself and not follow directions. I love the process of knitting the first one so much that I immediately cast this one on. I also was craving a little color work, which was why I was craving color work, plus I had leftovers of this exact same yarn in other colors. So I started doing this. A little smorgasbord floral diamond striping situation that I think I'm gonna bring back a couple more times throughout the entire sweater. Currently so this is the neckline portion. I don't know if it's hard to see from there. So for this version, I am holding Jubilee Yarns Elixir Mohair Double in the colors. The light blue is Velvet Hammer, the white is Pina Colada, and the dark blue is Adios Mother, which I think is the funniest name. I don't know why, but it cracks me up every time I say it. So I am currently working the raglan increases, which are right here, for those of you who don't know anything about knitting at Mom. And here she is. I have a couple other languishing whips that I didn't make a lot of progress on, so I'm not gonna mention those this time. On to my recently finished objects. My finnies. My first finished object to show are these cutie little finished baby booties, which I unfortunately don't have physically to show you because they were gifted to one of the moms in my mom group and I no longer physically have them. So I knit them in some Lana Grossa Promessa yarn, which is a cotton polyamide mix, I believe. And I followed an old magazine pattern from my Grandma Jean in order to make these. I've knit a bunch of these so far. I've definitely talked about the pattern before. And so instead of adding ribbons for ties, I made 2 little I-cords. And I just think, based off of my experience with tying them around my own kids, the ribbons seem to be, they untie all the time. So I thought maybe something with a little more grip, like yarn itself, would lend better to tying ties. We'll see. Baby booties will always be the friggin' cutest. That brings me to this Finny, my little finished t-shirt for the girls, inspired by Petite Knit's, is it called the Fiesta dress? I don't remember. Fiesta dress, I think is what it's called. Anyway, I'll put the pattern here. So yes, just knit in some cotton scraps that I had, stockinette with some garter stripes, and seamed, it's just two rectangles, 2 squares, seamed up with some I-cord sleeves. I'm thinking this will probably be like an 18-month size, but hey, you never know. I have no idea when it comes to sizing stuff. So yes, the white yarn is left over from choosing not to do sleeves on my darling sweater, and I have so much leftovers. And so I decided to make this. And the blue yarn, I believe, is just like an old cotton acrylic blend Caron cake from Michael's from when I was in high school, I think. And yes, I love when a spontaneous cast on works out. That brings me to the last up of my finished objects. Drumroll please. My darling sweater. Oh no, there's a snag. Oh no. This darling has been on my needles for over a year. And I didn't even do the sleeves. So I am glad to be done with her. I love the pattern, don't love the fit, but I made her still and I still love her. The fit, which is 100% fault of my own, not the patterns. I don't even remember all of the things I did throughout knitting this project over the last year. Yes, I made a lot of modifications, so I can't, besides the chart, I feel like in some stitch counts, I feel like I can't even, I didn't really follow the pattern. I just just feel guilty for not following directions. I'm very glad that she's done. I love this yarn. It was my very first all over charted colorwork project. And I feel like that is evident by the time in which it took me to make. Yes, being my first charted, need to concentrate colorwork, like not made up colorwork. Colorwork, why am I saying colorwork? It was tough. But I'm glad I didn't give up and rip it out and that I finished it, I stuck it through, because I still think she's really cute even though she doesn't look like how I thought she was going to. Things I don't love, how tight I made this collar, which I already redid twice, so I wasn't about to do it a third time. I was like, this fits, I'm not doing it again. And the same with the sleeves. I feel like I decreased the number of stitches because I was afraid it was gonna like wing out. And I also went down needle size. And I think in retrospect, I only needed to do one of those things to keep it from being like floppy. So in doing both, I feel like it's cinched a little bit weird. Yes, this project taught me a lot and definitely made me more comfortable and confident with color work, for sure. All the many, many stitches of practice that she provided. But yes, I loved this Viking Garn Bambino. I have a bunch left over. I'm looking to try and find some more patterns to knit that up with that aren't, without doing just yellow and white again, because I feel like I have the Evangeline in yellow, I have this in yellow, I don't need this many yellow things. But I love the little bows on the chart and the color work. I love the little bows in the color work, and I love how drapey it is, I will say that. So I'm not loving the cape effect that the cinched in sleeves and collar are giving, so maybe if I'm feeling brave, at some point down the road I will go back and unpick, but after redoing this collar thrice, I'm not interested in doing that right now. She's wearable. I would maybe knit this again if I'm feeling like doing a lot of color work, but I will follow the pattern to a T if I do knit this again, because I do really love the pattern. So yes, when I wear this, I'm drowning in positive ease because I went from what I believe I started knitting, I cast on the number of stitches for a size 6 and then tapered down to a size 3 by the top. So yeah. And that's even with doing extra armpit decreases, and it's just very drapey. Yes, I will knit again, being cognizant to follow the pattern instructions and the gauge. She's wearable here in Florida, that's a bonus. And she taught me a lot about knitting. And for that, I have no regrets. And with that, I will thank you for joining me. If you'd like to follow me more in real time, you can do that here on Instagram at @BloominKnits. I post a lot of my babies and knitting, and that is all. Thank you so much for being here and staying till the end and hanging out with me while I talk about knitting, because it's my favorite thing to talk about. And yes, I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Happy knitting.